Overpromised and underdelivered. If you are a long-time viewer of this channel, that will sound familiar, especially in regards to Kerbal Space Program 2 when it was released. But today I want to look at a different game, one that also had a rough start but managed to turn it around. Hello everybody and welcome! It has been over a decade since the first version of No Man's Sky was released. And to be honest, I had mostly forgotten that I have this game in my Steam library. But recently I decided to take another peek into this space game developed and published by Hello Games. And to my surprise, I was hooked for many hours. This was a stark contrast to how I remembered that game. Because back in the day when it first came out, No Man's Sky was rather boring. In this video, I want to take a quick look at what happened back then and how the developers turned things around. Since I am away on vacation for a couple of weeks, this is going to be just a quick overview and not a deep dive like my almost hour-long development history video on KSP2. If you haven't, please give it a watch. It was really fascinating to learn all the hidden details surrounding the development of that game and why it was doomed from the start, as my video title says. Link is in the description. If you are a first-time viewer, welcome! Usually I do videos about space games like Kerbal Space Program or the upcoming Kitten Space Agency, which is not out yet, but there's already a lot of exciting info surrounding it. So if that is something you might like, make sure you're subscribed to this channel so you don't miss an update. Anyway, No Man's Sky. I remember when the first trailer for this game was released. It promised an almost infinite universe full of procedurally generated planets, moons, plants, and animals. The possibilities were sheer endless. Or so everybody thought. Because I also remember being disappointed by how empty everything felt when I first played the game. And if you look at the initial Steam reviews, those many negative reviews are very reminiscent of how the launch of KSP2 went down. People were not happy. But Hello Games had a big advantage over Intercept Games, the studio that worked on the ill-fated sequel to the beloved Kerbal Space Program. And that advantage was, while they had done a deal with Sony to bring No Man's Sky to the PlayStation 4, yes, it was that long ago, Hello Games always stayed in control of publishing, whereas KSP2 was published by Private Division, a subsidiary of Take-Two Interactive. And just as the KSP2 developers started to turn things around, everything was shut down by the publisher, the entire studio fired, and the Kerbal franchise sold off to a private equity firm. I also have a video about that, link is in the description. So yes, Hello Games took $60 for an unfinished game. And they sold quite a lot of it. When it launched, No Man's Sky broke the record for concurrent players on Steam. And according to Gamealytic, it sold an estimated 10 million copies overall. But Hello Games did not just take the money and run, instead they put their heads down and got to work to fulfill the promises made in the lead-up to the release. It would take forever to list everything that was released over the past 9 years since it was originally launched, so I'm just going to quickly scroll through the update log on the official website. Oh, and one more interesting thing. All of these more than 30 updates that oftentimes completely changed the game were free. There are no microtransactions, no in-game currency to buy with real money, no special equipment you only get when forking over your hard-earned cash. You buy the game, you get everything. Period. I really wish more games would follow that path. But then again, most games don't get a couple of $1 million in revenue on day one and have a safe financial cushion to continue working on their game for almost a decade. No Man's Sky is considered one of the greatest comeback stories in gaming history. And when KSP2 launched to less than stellar reviews, people were hoping for it to be able to similarly turn things around. But both games started from very different positions. While KSP2 was part of Take-Two's lineup, it was never treated as a premium property by the publisher. Sure, there was marketing and promotion, but nothing compared to what Sony did for No Man's Sky. That game was present in the mainstream in a way that KSP2 never was. So while the response for both games at launch was similar, the revenue was not. The Kerbal sequel sold roughly 400,000 copies since it became available, which was more than 2 years ago. No Man's Sky had more than 210,000 concurrent players on day 1. So basically it made half of what KSP2 made over the course of 2 years in less than a day. And it still ranks in the upper hundreds of the top-selling games on Steam, with thousands of concurrent players. Hello Games profited off the immense marketing push back in 2016, which gave them the resources to perform that historic turnaround, which then resulted in more positive reviews and in the end a comfortable, stable income from game sales. KSP2 was of course not so lucky. And given what we know now, for instance that they started out developing the game with the original problematic code from Kerbal Space Program, as I pointed out in my KSP2 development history video, it is questionable that they would have been able to do a No Man's Sky-like comeback without completely overhauling the underlying technology. Which is exactly what Kitten's space agency is doing. The team at Rocketworks have realized that if you want to do a space game for real, you need to lay the technological foundation and you need to lay it right. Whether or not they succeeded is something that I'm going to pay close attention to once I'm able to get my hands on a build of KSA. So what have I been up to in No Man's Sky? Well, I have realized that there is now something of a coherent narrative, which was completely absent back when I played the game for the first time. I also realized that multiplayer is now really a thing, which it wasn't back then. And I have to admit, I just had fun exploring. Maybe it's not everything we dreamed of back when we saw the announcement trailer more than a decade ago, but it is still entertaining, and I really want to know more of what happened to Artemis and what Apollo's deal is and why the entity called Null has a head that looks like a light bulb. Anyway, this video was just a bit off the beaten path of what I usually do, but let me know, have you played No Man's Sky? If so, when was the first time you did and when was the last time you tried it? It seems to me that you can put this game aside for a year and then return and find a lot of new things thanks to the stable stream of updates from Hello Games. Even if you don't think No Man's Sky is that good of a game, I think what the developers are doing is to be commended in a world ruled by games full of microtransactions and siphoning players' money. Good on them for not participating in that awful trend. And if you want to support what I do here on this channel, you can do so by signing up as a YouTube member or over on Patreon, where you can watch all of my videos ad-free. And if you choose one of the higher tiers, your name will show up here, together with all of these wonderful people. Thank you so much for your support. Me? I'm going to do some real-world exploring on an island in the Atlantic Ocean for the next couple of weeks, because it's time for our annual summer vacation. So please forgive me if reactions to your comments might be a bit late. This video has been scheduled in advance. But I'll be back, don't you worry. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel for more and follow me on my social thingies. The links are in the description. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.